Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Haloran, and the voice you'll be hearing with me co-casting tonight is none other than the Socrates of Heroes of the Storm, Cavalier Guest. How's it going tonight, man?
It's going really good. Thanks for having me on the cast. This is exciting. I didn't realize this is who we were casting, for the record.
So we have an interesting one, for sure. Let me get the draft link started up. It's going to be Team Space Bear going up against Skyelight, the Division 2 champions of Season 2 of Chair League. Going up against an interesting bunch. Already got the draft links. Neat. They're on the ball. They're on the ball. So if you're coming over here from one of their channels, it's gonna be interesting. That's for sure. And if you were here from before and you don't know who's on this team, I don't even know if I want to spoil the surprise. Be honest, because it's gonna be cool.
You should let it be a surprise.
I think that's what we're gonna do. Lord Boo, this is in fact the legendary duo cast, part 7, the Revengening. I guess I don't know.
That's right. The 7th movie always has a dumb name. Revengening is perfect.
This time it's personal. But yeah, for those who are seeing this for the first time, Chair League is a recreational league. Chairleague.com. It's for fun. You can join individually or as a team. There are Chair League teams or matches going on all week. It's a lot of fun. Like I've said earlier tonight, I think it's the way that Heroes of the Storm is meant to be played. Play with friends. You're all in voice comms. It's coordinated. You just show up. You get a time schedule towards your games. And it's a good time. We are looking at a best of 3 here. The first game is going to be on Dragonshire. Skylight have taken us there. Team Space Bear will have first pick, first ban. So then in the second game, it's going to flip around to where Team Space Bear picks the map, and then Skylight gets the first pick, first ban, and then should there be a game 3, it's going to flip around. But we are underway here. Draft is up. Team Space Bear, first pick, first ban. On a map like this, you got to consider heroes like Falstead, Brightwing. Zul shows up in bands. And what?
Gazlo. They're afraid of that Gazlo. You gotta give credit to Skylight though. Picking a map where rotations and mechanics matter so much against a team like Team Space Bear. This is the opener. This is what they want to deal with. They end up banning Zagara to make sure that they, don't have a hero that can just sort of win that top lane automatically. And I'm curious to see what Team Space Bear is going to pick up when they first ban Gazlo.
This was going to be interesting because, Skylight, they aren't slouches, man. Team Space Bear, they're in the pro division. So the first pick Gazlo or the first ban Gazlo into the first pick Stitches. I'm excited to see how this plays out. Skylight might want to consider picking Medivh here because if you've seen PAX West at all, Stitches and Medivh is a dead wrong combination where Hook Gorge Portal is a full-on abduction, and it'd be funny to me. Like, I'd enjoy watching it. I'd laugh.
Do we have a name for that combination? The milk carton?
Yeah, the milk carton. Because you end up on the milk. You disappear. Have you seen me? That's pretty much how it goes. Skylight is gonna elect to go for some global presence. They're gonna pick up Brightwing. They have one more selection, 60 in the time pool. So they have a little bit of a time before they settle on somebody. I would strongly consider that Medivh pick to deny that combination. But no. What do I know? They're going to go ahead and pick up ETC.
He does have a lot of strengths on this map in terms of rotational kills. He has some of the worst wave clear of any tank, so if you don't get those rotational kills with them and you don't guard your rotation really well, you do end up in a very bad position. But with the global from Brightwing and that potential for the ganks, Skylight has a lot of options to open up the early game and get ahead. But I'm curious to see what Team Space is going to respond with. I feel like there's something going to be a Medivh ban incoming if they don't pick Medivh right here. So we're going to have to see if that's what they opt to do.
I would not risk Medivh going through the second ban phase if that's something that I was opting to play. We're going to see Ariel get picked up. They want the support early in the game, and also Sergeant Hammer. So a bit of a curveball. I honestly was expecting Medivh there. But Stitches ends up being something of a counter pick. to reverse deny Sergeant Hammer in a lot of ways. Like Stitches is really good against yanking Sergeant Hammer out of position. So maybe that's the star of their composition. Maybe it's not Stitches, Medivh. Maybe this was all a ruse. We've all been thrown a curveball, and it's a Sergeant Hammer show.
It's possible. At Spring Worlds, we did see a Chinese team try and cheese out MVP Black on Dragonshire with the Orbital BFG combo. They picked Hammer, and MVP Black responded by picking Stitches. Stitches is one of the best counters to Hammer. So by picking that early and making it seem kind of awkward that maybe Skyelight didn't think about the fact that it means they can't pick it against Hammer, and now Hammer's on the map. But Hammer Ariel is going to be a really good combination. Hammer, puts out a lot of steady damage, especially in siege mode, and that's going to refill Ariel's hope very, very quickly. I'm concerned that they don't have any follow-up for Stitches hooks right now, except really maybe if they position aggressively, they can actually get a good detainment strike. We'll see how that works out for them. But Medivh does get banned out. This is a good call. And Team Spice are responding with a Tychus ban, not wanting Stitches to get chunked out by that easy trade, and then picking up Sylvanas Sonya.
Yeah, the Tychus ban was very well timed as well, in my opinion. Hold on. All right. In the back of my mind, I thought maybe we would see some Cho'Gall action. This being Trikslyr, we are brothers in arms, and I love Artanis, so I'd hope to see some Artanis play. But I can see Skyelight going way into their time pool trying to figure out what they're going to do for this one. The Tychus the Tychus ban makes so much more sense now. Ariel Cho'Gall it's tough to deal with. Skylight's going to have an interesting time on this one.
I mean, if Team Spacebear can get to level 16 even or ahead, I don't think Skyelight can possibly win the late game, regardless of what their last pick is. So they need to win the early game really hard. They do have some tools to do that. They have the global from the Brightwing. They have the trait from the Sylvanas studying the buildings. But no one in their comp currently has any percentile damage, which is a huge thing you need versus Cho'Gall. And there's not that many options left open to really do that. Leoric would put them in sort of a triple tank situation, which can be awkward. Raynor is an option, but I mean, with the Stitches, a single hook, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. They're in a hard position. They opt for Vikings.
All right. I had imagined we would see some interesting fireworks out of this progression, and it doesn't get much more interesting than that. I wasn't expecting Lost Vikings. I know Skyelight, they excel at playing Lost Vikings. But with the Cho'Gall pick, I just felt like you had to go for some kind of audible. I agree with you at not having some kind of percentile-based damage could be rough for them. I was expecting to see a Raynor or a Vala or one of those giant killer style of heroes, but they're like, all right, well, if you're going to go down a body, we'll go up 3 and just kind of out-rotate, I guess, would be the way to play it.
They have that option, and it's worth noting that, several months ago, Blizzard implemented the scaling changes, making everything 4% instead of having individual scaling for each hero, because they discovered that being ahead or behind with Cho'Gall was so incredibly brutal because of the way the game used to scale. And that's still true. Being ahead or behind with Cho'Gall is really bad if you're behind a significant number of levels. In Vikings, you're never missing soak. As long as you don't feed any kills into the enemy team and you have good rotations, you're going to end up ahead in experience, especially with that Sylvanas enabling you to push a lane. So if they can win the early game hard enough and deny that, Hammer Cho'Gall from getting any sort of momentum, they can take the game just from early game pressure.
We're going to see if they're able to pull that off. I mean, I don't know how this is going to play out. Hammer Cho'Gall. I mean, Ariel Cho'Gall speaks for itself. The cat's out of the bag on that one for real. So that synergy alone is insane. Stitches. Who does Stitches like? I'm trying to grasp the follow up on a hook. Like, you already got Upheaval.
It's going to be detainment strike. It's going to be Ariel positioned off to the side, and Stitches will stand next to a piece of terrain, try and hook someone next to the terrain, and detainment strike from Ariel will be the follow-up.
I guess that's going to have to be the play. I mean, I like to think I have a pretty solid understanding of the game, but these compositions, I mean, this is madness. This is Sparta. Like, Hammer Cho'Gall up against the Vikings with Sylvanas, double specialist, double warrior, bright wing composition. Your guess is as good as mine on this one, because I don't know who won that draft. I don't know how you play that one.
I think it's going to be an execution. If the Vikings comp can get ahead in the early game, they have a good chance of just taking the map away. But if the Cho'Gall comp can stay even into the mid-late game, then they're going to get to 16-20, and they're never going to die. There's just going to be no possible way to kill them past a certain point.
Well, we're about to find out exactly how this one's going to go. Game 1 in this already interesting best of 3. So on the left side, we got Team Space Bear, Trikslyr's on Cho, Biceps is on Gall. Dreadnaught, the man himself, is on Ariel, Rajar is on Sergeant Hammer, and Stitches is being played by Dunktrain.
On the right side of the map for Skyelight, we have Lady Sky on ETC, Izzy Ismo on the Lost Vikings, H Mecco on Brightwing, Grogos on Sonya, and Goofy on Sylvanas. And it looks like they are going to just rotate top and immediately start the push and the cheese on the walls.
I mean, with the Vikings pickup, for sure they're going to try to get some kind of early siege potential, but I would imagine Team Space Bear is aware that they're rotating as a unit. They haven't seen anyone show themselves yet. And look at this stealth action here from Skyelight. They know that Team Space Bear is looking for them. They wait to show bottom or mid, and they just go in.
I like that patience waiting for them to show in lane. They know they're not going to miss any soak because of the Vikings. And this is the kind of patience you can afford to have when you have Vikings. But Team Space Bear responding just by sieging up with Hammer and pushing in the mid lane. I think that might be a race they can actually win. Normally you can't win a race versus Sylvanas, but with a sieged Hammer, it's very close.
Basic arithmetic alone stipulates that Dreadnaught and Dunktrain would have a whale of a time trying to go up against this. They get poked pretty well, have to rotate around, and Izzy Ismo actually gets stuck behind the wall on Olaf. The first third of a takedown of the game. Dunktrain pretty low on health. Is he going to be able to get out of there thanks to Dreadnaught's heals? That answer's looking to be yes.
This isn't a Slam Stitches build, this is a Dampen Magic Stitches build, which means he's not doing a whole lot of damage, so Dreadnaught doesn't, and he has that crown on Dunktrain, but it's not going to give him enough hope to actually sustain through this assault without the buildings doing damage. So Dunktrain and Dreadnaught, if they ever get out of position here, could easily get picked off.
We're going to have to see if that happens. I mean, meanwhile, over in mid lane, Sergeant Hammer is having the full run of it, already went through the wall, so some counter value already. But when you lose a fort less than 2 minutes in the game, that's got to be a point of concern. The Vikings are being valued, stealing away these shrines while all this is going on. Sonya has 200 health. The power slide actually kind of body blocking Sonya, securing the takedown there. Triceps? I just noticed the name Triceps. Nice, well played. And then Lady Sky is
picked who was going to play Cho'Gall based on what the name was going to be.
I'm just impressed because the guy's name is Biceps, and then Trikslyr's playing Cho, so it's Triceps. They upgrade. They upgrade. I like it. Both teams level 4, 1 shrine apiece at the moment. Looking at these talents, Rune Gauntlet, Majestic Spin, nothing too surprising or fancy there on that front. But Triceps finds himself an interesting spot. Juke City uses the Q to jump back the other way. Goofy's on the prowl after the haunting wave. Sonya applying pressure to Dreadnaught. Heal goes on Cho'Gall and Ariel both. But I don't think it's going to be enough. The power slide isolation is going to knock Cho'Gall down a peg. That's
incredible patience from Lady Sky, saving that power slide for that long, waiting until Cho'Gall was low enough. You might have, you don't know what the cooldown is on Hurry Up Both. Could have had it available, and another threat of picking up the Dragon Knight from them. No, Hammer does manage to catwalk Rajar. Doing a really good job, sort of as a solo Hammer, which is not something you normally see. Hammer doesn't usually walk around by herself. Normally, she's sort of a hero you pick when you're trying to protect the Hammer comp, so she can do so much damage. But that's not what we're seeing out of Rajar, and I really like the style of play from Team Space Bear.
I mean, it's an adaptation I feel they had to make. When you have Cho'Gall on a 3-lane map, rotations are always going to be awkward. Ariel loses it all in front of their bottom fort wall. That's another takedown, notching the belt for Skyelight. Both shrines, looks pretty much playing the musical shrine game. But Sylvanas is going to get them some value in the fight, locking down both of these towers. The Polymorph goes out on Dunktrain. That was ambitious, Dunk. That was ambitious.
I like Skylight's attitude here. They're letting the Vikings manage the lanes and potentially manage the shrines, and if they lose a shrine, they're not worried about it. They just constantly push with the Sylvanas. They're trying to get that experience lead, and that's exactly what they need to be doing. Rajar a little bit overextended here. Does have Z available? No, it does not matter. The W from Sylvanas is going to finish him off, and that's going to be bottom for free. One thing I want to notice, Vikings took bribery at level 1, and we haven't seen any bribes used yet. I wonder if they're saving those up just to get the pressure in the mid game.
I think they will. I mean, it definitely seems like a quality versus quantity style of setup. I mean, less than 5 minutes into the game, they've already knocked down 2 forts, and they're not done yet. They're continuing to apply pressure. Stitches goes down again. They're getting the bottom keep wall. Sylvanas is getting an immense amount of value. Forces the response out of Triceps. He has to hearth back after applying pressure in the top lane. But with this level advantage, this is going to be dicey.
Everyone on Skylight, however, is very, very low. I mean, if you stand around long enough, Brightwing can't heal everyone up, but Karaga's very low, Goofy low as well. Not going to get out of there. They do finally get a pick on that Sylvanas, who's been so aggressive and so central all game. Killing her off is finally going to relieve this lane pressure. But Vikings are channeling in the mid. And no, they do manage to cap bot in time. Izzy-Ismo does not pick up the pick.
Eric was swiftly taken out on that bottom shrine. Roger, I was like, not so fast here. Come on, man. Heroics are picked up for Skylight, though, so this could be a big moment for them. Looking at the Heroics, you're going to see Mosh Pit, Longboat Raid, Blink Heal, Wrath of the Berserker, and Wailing Arrow. Those could be things. Dreadnaught's going to try to get this top shrine. Izzy-Ismo on Olaf has a thing or two to say. The Chaining Strike knocks him back. Dreadnaught is actually able to claim it. Olaf does not stick his pinky toe on there. Balog goes down, and the first strike... Oh, no! It got stolen away from the bot shrine. Nice.
Yeah, that play from Izzy-Ismo, even though he's had to sacrifice the Viking Fort, was just enough to let Lady Sky cap bottom shrine. She's now going to rotate up. Maybe they can get Rajar stuck in the corner here. Get a kill? No, does barely manage to get out. Mosh Pit actually went down, but got interrupted before it even completely casted. So that is going to be available again in 2 seconds. And Triceps could easily go down if they opt to use it on him. They do get Triceps, and that's still a 2-level lead for Skylight.
Cho'Gall is knocked down for the second time this game. 6.5 minutes in, both shrines right now in possession of Skylight. Lady Sky power slides out on Dunktrain. Body blocks are a whole thing, but he is able to get back. Rajar cannot interrupt the Dragon Knight summoning and goes down. This is a huge opportunity for Skylight.
Rajar went deep to stop that last one, but the aggressive haunting wave from Goofy not only secured the kill, it made sure that Izzy-Ismo could finish channeling that Dragon Knight. And they're going to take it bottom. They want to secure a keep. They want to get that lane pressure going early on in the game, but enough massive upheaval from Cho'Gall plus a Shadow Volley. And the kick away! So Shadow Volley ends up doing absolutely nothing at all to the enemy team. And Mosh goes down just on Cho'Gall, which is going to be enough that they can just focus, but no focus. And they end up getting out of here. Maybe no. Sylvanas does end up going down, and they're going to have to back up and retreat, but they're going to sacrifice the Viking for the keep.
You do manage to knock down that bottom keep. That's a huge win for them. This catapults for the rest of the game. The Mosh Pit was nice. You're going to see the hook go on Lady Sky, so I don't think they're making it out. Nope. That's going to be another takedown in the column for Team Space Bear. Izzy-Ismo was just kind of casually stroll by, like, excuse me, guys, I'm done. I'm done here. I'd like to leave. Eric the Swift puts his Nikes on. He goes for a run. He gets out of it.
And that was a pretty good turnaround for Team Space Bear, but in the meanwhile, Olaf has been soaking top. Balog has been pushing mid, and they're slowly going to fall behind in experience so they don't get even more kills like that. But Goofy, nice wailing the hunting wave out of the upheaval. Silence goes down onto Triceps. He's so low that the hurry up oak does finally happen. He's so low, but Lady Sky res comes back in with the power slide, seals the camp away. They never even capped it after all that effort to take it away. And Tricep tries to retreat through the forts, but unfortunately, forts are actually still up for Team Skylight, and that does not end up working out for him.
Chase is on for Rajar. I didn't want the tank. They managed to get that. Dreadnaught is on an island for real, is able to mount up. The minion doesn't knock him down. He gets polyed. Goofy and H-Miko have more than enough damage to secure that kill. But it's not over yet, Cavalier. We're going to see this siege camp get invaded over the bottom left corner. Dunktrain is getting bullied out of it, taken down. That's effectively a full ace.
Yeah, Dunktrain actually burned Featured Bile trying to force Izzy-Ismo off that camp and get that away from them, but it didn't end up working out. Lady Sky was there in time with the power slide. Such good communication, good coordination with the Vikings players. The Vikings are everywhere on the map, providing vision. being annoying, guaranteeing the value, and anytime they get in trouble, the team is right there, rotating to help. Another huge mosh going down. This is going to end up in 2 kills. Ariel and Sergeant Hammer both go down for free. Keith did a little bit of damage, but it's getting disabled now by Goofy, and it looks like they're just trying to just leave before they get picked off. No, they turn around with the spin to win. Dunktrain is so low. Sonya is going to go in, get that kill, maybe 5 health. No, Stitches goes down, and only Triceps is left alive.
I'm glad you were calling a play-by-play on that one, because my jaw was effectively dropped through pretty much every stage of that. The shield goes down, his core's gonna drop. The cheeky Cho'Gall composition, even with the Ariel setup, there's not enough hope in the world to try to save yourself from losing keeps this early, losing force that early. The siege potential was just all over the place with Sylvanas and the Lost Vikings. Effectively smothered Team Space Bear out of the game. They just never really found a way to establish a front.
Yeah, and we said it in the draft, if the Vikings ever got ahead early, Cho'Gall's a hero that really struggles when he's behind in levels, even 2 levels. But at the end of that game, they were like 4 levels behind. There's just no coming back from that as a Cho'Gall comp. Even with Ariel, you need those late game talents for it to be a really unstoppable force. And that's, I mean, Dragonshire is not a map where you can always guarantee that you're going to get to the late game, that you're going to get ahead, because you can get out-rotated. And when you're one body down, getting out-rotated is even easier.
I mean, with that composition, they were on a high wire right from the beginning. This is a 3-lane map. Dragonshire is one of the most interesting and nuanced maps in the game, in my opinion, as far as having precise rotation. So how do you pull that off when you consciously put yourself down a body and you're going up against the Lost Vikings? They're always going to be soaking, unless you go over there and kill them, and that didn't really happen. The first pick, Gazlo, you know, Skyelight, they aren't slouches. They won Season 2, Division 2 quite handily, and they look dominant all season. I don't know if we're going to see first pick Gazlo this time.
I mean, it kind of depends on the map, right? There's some maps where Gazlo is valued a little bit more highly than others if they opt into Infernal. They picked Infernal Shrines.
Yeah.
Okay.
And thanks for the follows, by the way. They're a lot to go through. So that's a lot of follows. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. But I can go through the names later. Getting everybody in the lobby. As Cavalier said, we are going to be going to Infernal Shrines. This is personally my favorite map to cast. I think you really get to see all the aspects of how a team approaches Heroes of the Storm. Rotations are important. Team fight capability in your composition, important. Soaking, important. Siege pressure, important. So all the major facets of the game are going to be right here. I'm excited to see it.
I love Infernal Shrines for the drafting, right? Because there's clear-cut roles that exist for a lot of heroes that don't exist on other maps. You have heroes that can just straight up win the objective, like Kerrigan. They're Shrine babysitters. Sonya with just spin to win on the objective. And you have heroes that can make the objective not matter because you get so far ahead in terms of soak. You have Abathur, you have Zul, as long as your team delays for long enough. And then you have heroes like Sylvanas just break that down completely. And if anyone ever wins, and if Sylvanas team ever wins the objective, they pretty much just get so far ahead you can't do anything about it. It's an interesting dynamic, right? That they have these you have these 3 categories of heroes, and it's not quite a rock paper scissors situation, but it is something you always have to consider what your comp is going to be good at and what your comp's not going to be good at. I think there's a lot of considerations that go into really good Infernal Shrines drafts. And I'm forced to say it. This is another map where Cho'Gall is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I was about to say, if they want to try to run Cho'Gall, I feel like this is the map to do it on. Dragonshire, you're doing it at your own peril. It did not end up panning out for them that time. There was just a lot of siege pressure to consider. Apparently the lobby is bugged, so I'm going to remake the lobby. Bet. Man, there's a lot of follows. Holy crap. I appreciate it. Hope you guys are having a good time getting Chair League. Chairleague.com, a recreational league where you can join individually or as a team. A lot of fun. As you can see, I mean, come on. Wait, Roger. Can we do it? All right, he's in there. And let me get Lady Sky in here. Show calls #1 on all maps. Super Trovo might be a little biased on that front, but all right, we got everybody starting to filter in here. Let me get the second round started. They're on top of their game. They've already got the draft link set up. They did this round 1. Cool. Makes my life easy. I like that. So we're gonna see how Team Space Bear approaches the draft this time. I think they would be well served to play this one a little more straight up. To use their bans a little more judiciously. That first ban, Gazlo, was just like, hey, we're just out here having fun. And Skyelight was like, hey, we're out here having fun too, but we can play. Like, don't think you're gonna get away with any style of composition. So don't feel too fancy. Too fancy on that. So left side. Oh, I gotta switch people around a bunch. Up Gizmo. There we go. I mean, wow, there are a lot of follows coming through. I appreciate it a lot. That would be a lot of names to go through. A lot of names to go through. And I can. Team Space Bear is ready. Skylight's getting into the lobby. Make sure they have their draft link. Asking too much. What am I asking for? What happened? Did I ask for something? Nikita, this is.
I think you asked for Team Space Bear to use their bans more judiciously.
I did. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, they don't have to. They're the ones playing the game. They're clicking the buttons. But can't just go strolling into 1v4s against Skylight. Doesn't always go down.
We did see a lot of. We saw a lot of very forward positioning, very aggressive positioning from Team Space Bear, and Skylight was perfectly willing to take advantage of that. Every time someone was out of position, they were like, "Yeah, thanks. We'll take that. That's fine."
Oh, they were happy. They were like, "Oh, sure." I should plug my co-host for some of these sweet follows. Yeah, go ahead and follow Cavalier Guest. I call him the Socrates of Heroes because he's the most knowledgeable guy in the game that I know. So definitely follow him, Cavalier Guest, on Twitch and Twitter.
For those of you new to Halloran stream, he has a gift for coming up with brilliant naming things for everything. The Butcher Falstad combo with Landless Slaughter plus Gust is the Tetherball. The Medivh plus Stitches Gorge Portal combo is the Milk Carton, because man, you got abducted and no one knows where you went. You're on a milk carton. He has a gift for it, and it's an amazing thing. If you ever need something with a really clever name, I encourage you to ask Halloran.
Appreciate that, man. We do have the draft underway now. So it's flipped around. Skylight has the luxury of first pick, first ban. Team Space Bears picked the map. Like I said, we're going to be on Infernal Shrines. I would again state that Team Space Bear would be well served to just play this a little more straight up. I don't know if we're going to see the first ban Gazlo again. Skylight thinking about where they want to go with this. They're going to ban out Kerrigan. It's going to force Team Space Bear into an interesting spot. Do they want to risk Sylvanas getting picked up? They've seen what Skylight can do with Sylvanas. And they're going to ban out Cigar. Okay, cool.
And apparently they don't care. They're like, okay, if you want to take Sylvanas, that's fine. Team Space Bear, I think, can certainly draft a comp that will consistently win the shrines. And if Sylvanas gets picked up, and they never win the shrine, then that value's not going to matter as much. But that means that, you always have to win the shrines. You have to be on those rotations. You have to be careful when the shrines are coming up. You can't let your team get picked off. And Skylight is threatening it. They're picking up that Sylvanas, and Team Space Bear is going to need to have a good response.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at all to see Sylvanas be the first pick. I mean, that was the difference maker in the last game. So I definitely expect to see that kind of value had yet again if they manage to come away with any of these Punishers. With the Zagara first ban, I do imagine that Team Space Bear is going to approach this one with a much stronger posture. Not be as relaxed as they may have been before. We're going to see Falstad get picked up. He's an excellent tool on this map. He has the ability to soak. He can fly around, get that tier advantage, get that level advantage for you. Mighty Gust is powerful in its ability to both set up an engagement and to disengage to save your teammates when you're facing a fight you don't feel like dealing with. That's a good start for them.
It is a good start for them. And Globals, I mean, Shrines isn't the biggest map, but because it's so rotation dependent, Globals can help you get ahead in that rotation, and they instantly lock in the Zul. This is a great pickup. If Zul's okay on the Shrines, but he can get you so far ahead in the experience that it's hard to come back from unless you get a lot of value out of the Punishers if you win them. Mm-hmm. Of course, with the Sylvanas, that's not impossible to do, but I think Team Space Bear has some good options defensively for what they can pick up. They're going to have that Gust. And they have some other things they can pick up in terms of winning the Shrines as well. Sonya's still available. Johanna, Leoric. There's lots of interesting picks that maybe we'll see here that we might not see other people pick up.
Yeah, I mean, Skyelight definitely does have some comfort picks. We saw the kind of play they had at Lost Vikings. I'd be somewhat surprised if they would try to play that card again on a more team fight-oriented map. I do like the Falstad Zul combination. That pretty much makes Skyelight have to look at the minimap at all times because Zul can soak 2 lanes, Falstad can fly around. There's just a lot of different things that Team Space Bear can do with this composition, where if Skyelight develops 2 one-track of mind, they could definitely get punished for that. ETC and Rhaegar are going to be their second and third selections. Power Slide got a ton of value. Mosh Pit didn't get the most, but it did set up a lot of plays, and Rhaegar is good all around. I like those choices.
I actually think Rhaegar is arguably the best support if you're trying to win the Shrines very aggressively because of Lightning Bond at level 1. He offers more damage on the Shrine than any other support. Mm-hmm. And it's spread out over 2 areas, and often the minions, they spawn in random locations. They're not necessarily always grouped up right away. So by having that damage in 2 different locations and automatically happening, you get a lot of work going on. Team Space Bear banning out Li Ming. I think that's a good ban. This isn't Li Ming's best map by any stretch of the imagination, but she can lead to very snowbally encounters if you're behind in experience. And with the Sylvanas, if they win a Punisher, they will end up behind just because of the structure advantage, the amount of XP that's going to give. Mm-hmm. And Skylight's spending a long time thinking about their ban here. They can ban any tank or any support, depending on which one they would rather isolate. I don't think and they end up banning the Greymane. Wow, they don't want that playmaking potential. They don't want to deal with, I assume, the cocktail build, stealing Shrines away from them. So they're very focused on winning the Shrines, and I like that decision because they have Sylvanas.
Yeah, I think that's a very smart ban on both ends. What the Li Ming ban says to me is that Team Space Bear is looking for a solo warrior composition that might lean more towards a squishier side, and they don't want to deal with cooldown resets because, like you said, this isn't her strongest map. But she can still do work. I like the Greymane ban. These days, you see a lot of his cocktail build get a ton of value, especially on Infernal Shrines with the added damage that it can do. And in Worgen form, he can use his Q to really clear out and steal some of those defenders. So without seeing where the rest of their comp is going, I think those are 2 very smart bans. Oh.
The Lunara and the Ariel. This is 2 heroes now that are extremely good with Ariel. If you switch your crown to Zul right as he pops Poison Nova, it gives you multiple full bars of hope that you can just spam out on cooldown. And Lunara constantly, with all of her siege damage spread out over everyone, all of her cure damage spread out over everyone all the time, is very strong with Ariel. Just constantly keeps refilling that hope bar. It makes it a nightmare to deal with. And except for Mosh, Skylight doesn't have a lot of abilities that threaten grouped up heroes. Mm-hmm. Which means that everyone on Team Space Bear right now can stay grouped and get the full benefit of those Ariel heals that are going to be pretty much constant.
And aside, whenever Lunara gets picked, something I always say is never trust a big button to smile. That girl is poison. I feel contractually obligated to say that. Like I had to say it. But I love the Lunara Ariel pickups for Team Space Bear. Really strong targets to pass that Burger King crown around. And Skyelight has not yet shown a bursty style of composition, so right when they're going to be on the cusp of getting those kills, Crystal Aegis could do a lot to really spoil their plans. We're going to see Sergeant Hammer get picked up. They like the idea of having her in siege mode just outside of the shrine areas. just kind of poking people down. That can get a lot of value. They've liked the double specialist approach. I mean, it worked out well for them in the first game, so I guess they're going to try to have some of that magic back again here.
I think a lot of people miss the fact that most specialists are assassins with a gimmick. They do comparable damage to most assassins, and if you play them that way, you can have double specialist comps and win the map very hard through good rotations and good macro play, because if you're ahead, the fact that they do a little bit less damage in exchange for having a cool gimmick doesn't matter. And they're very good at that, and they even pick up the Turan for the lockdown. This is the So Ronde combo, as it is called in Korea. The ETC Turan, instantly able to erase whatever target gets power slid. And that's a lot of control and a lot of lockdown and a lot of potential burst from Hunter's Mark.
I think that's a sensational choice. Turan has definitely fallen out of favor these days. But again, like I was saying, they don't have the most burst style of setup in Sylvanas and Sergeant Hammer, even though I agree, most specialists are pretty much assassins. Hunter's Mark is definitely going to escalate things. It's going to give them an exclamation point on team fights to help them close it out. Johanna is going to be the last pick. A sound choice all around. Knight takes pawn is huge, and being able to clear out not only the defenders during the shrine phase, but also just the wave clear potential that Team Space Bear has now is insane.
It's absolutely. I mean, ETC has some of the worst wave clear of any tank. Sergeant Hammer in siege mode has okay wave clear, but you have to siege and then unsiege. Rhaegar and Sylvanas have the best wave clear on Skyelight, and it's not comparable to Team Space Bear. Skyelight is going to have to get picks if they don't want to slowly get smothered by skeletons and just lose their lanes to that combination of Johanna Zul rotating between two lanes. And that's going to be a hard thing to do with the comp they have, because Johanna has Iron Skin, and those stun lockdowns, if Iron Skin is properly timed, are just not going to have any effect at all on her.
Thanks for those, by the way. Cool. Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of this, I was rather concerned for Team Space Bear. Sylvanas is a beast on this map, undoubtedly, but I feel like they've really answered back in a very smart way. Having ETC does shorten your wave clear options. Tyranda's no champion at wave clear either. So it's just going to always be pressure that Team Skyelight has to worry about. There's always going to be lanes pushed against them. So anytime they lose a team fight, they're also feeling some of the pressure that siege potential that Team Space Bear has can bring. I like it. I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Is worth noting that even before her rework, this actually was one of Hammer's highest win rate maps. There's lots of nooks and crannies around the shrines that you can set up in siege mode, and just stand there, and it's hard for the enemy team to get to you unless they have some sort of gap closer. And the gap closers on a hero like Johanna, who's normally what you'd want your tank to be the gap closer, are very limited. So if she goes around for a flank, she's going to be able to do it, but that should be getting seen by the zoning potential of the ETC. Ariel is going to be the big risk, I think, just to knock people away. As soon as she gets into siege mode, if she gets knocked back and she's not in position to DPS the shrine anymore, it's going to be awkward for her. So there is some counterplay to the Hammer available in this comp, but I think it's going to be very difficult for them to get on top of that Hammer.
Yeah, one thing that their composition lacks is definitely dive. Lunara would be jumping in there on Leaping Strike in a rather brazen fashion. So they would definitely have to pick and choose their battles on that front. So Sergeant Hammer's numbers stand to look pretty good here. A well-timed Bone Prison and stuff could definitely be a factor or angle, but we're going to find out. We're loading into the game now. Switch us over. And can Team Space Bear force a Game 3? We're going to look at a 2-0 closeout from Skyelight over on the left side. At the home team, Team Space Bear, Rajar's on Falstad. Dunktrain is playing Zul. Trikslyr's on Lunara, Dreadnaught playing Ariel on the support, and Biceps is playing Johanna.
On the right side, on the devil side of the map, we have Lady Sky on ETC, Izzy Ismo and Turan, Gargus on Sergeant Hammer, Goofy on Sylvanas, and H. Meko on Rhaegar.
Now I'm curious to see how confident either one of these teams feel at their level 1 team fight. Both of them seem to feel pretty good about it. They're all rotating around through mid. Rotation down towards bot from Team Space Bear. I think Hunter's Mark could play a big factor. A well-timed power slide as well. Lady Sky hanging out here in the bush, seeing if someone wants to step across that line. But looks like Team Space Bear is going to play this one a little more passive.
You see Roger already flew top, so Roger is going to be that solo laner on Falstad. I'm curious to see who they're going to have go up for for Team Skylight. It is going to be the Rhaegar, so they're going to keep the Tyrande with the team, hoping for those pickoffs. And in the meanwhile, Zul Johanna starting the rotation in the bot lane and denying that potential gank from Team Skylight. So if they keep doing this, if they keep doing the opposite lane rotation, and they can stay ahead enough in the wave clear, they actually won't have any potential to get ganked at all. This is a strategy we often see in pro level games, but almost never see in Chair League.
Do I have a pause? Yeah, I definitely like that strategy. It's a good way to counter out that split push potential that team Space Bear has. I mean, all 4 people together not getting poked by the enemy team, that buys you more than enough time to clear out the wave and just kind of keep up on that front. So as long as they can keep that one going, things should be pretty good. Joe's having some lag, and then Trikslyr said, sorry, his sister's on Neopets. Savage.
Is Neopets still a thing?
I mean, I guess he has his AOL account and his Hotmail email, I guess. I don't know. Perhaps so. Once this lag breaks up, we will jump back into the action. It gives us time to look at some of the talents, though. For level 1, Falstad's going to go for Gathering Storm. Shade is the pickup for Zul, interestingly enough. Cruel Spores for Lunara. Swift Sweep for Ariel. Knight takes Pawn for Johanna. I'm surprised to see the Shade pickup.
I'm a little surprised to see Shade pickup too, although they only have ETC as their frontliner, so that the value of backlash with good positioning should be basically 0. Actually, 2 things I'm really surprised by are not picking up Lightning Bond on Rhaegar at level 1, so they don't have that. So they're opting to not go for that extra shrine control, and they really want to win the shrines as hard as possible, but it does give them better rotations in the late game. And Regen Master on Sergeant Hammer, which is a talent that I personally like a lot ever since it got reworked to give you additional health. It works really well with First Aid and Stone Skin to give her so much survivability, because it does apply to those talents since they are percent based, but I hardly ever see anyone take it.
Here's 2 kind of value to get out of that. And someone asked in chat, yes, that is a box. Yes. 4 members representing in the mid lane on both sides. A lot of poke damage. Thanks from Trikslyr is going to have the health bars of Skylight. No takedowns just yet on either side. The wave clear battle is starting to be lost by Skylight. This could be a problem for them.
That's exactly what we were talking about. Team Skylight was leaving mid as the wave was showing up for the next wave. They're like almost a full 30 seconds behind in their rotation. And you have to be behind in your rotation versus Zul if you don't want the skeletons to get value. But that means that you're never going to get those picks. And they've drafted a comp that really wants to get kills in the early game with that Tron UTC combo. And they're not going to do it unless they sacrifice Soak. And then it's a huge risk. If they don't get the pick, they also miss the Soak. They don't put any pressure on the enemy team. Maybe even they get counter-initiated on, and they end up so far behind.
Yeah, it definitely speaks to a shift in mindset. When you pick up ETC Tyrande, you're looking for those ganks early on. But now that Team Space Bear, the Bear's been poked, so it's awake now. They got a much more serious comp here, so maybe they're just like, let's not stick our neck out here too far. We don't want to start to fall behind, especially against this kind of wave clear. First shrine is going to show up. 9 to 5 so far. Biceps uses his Iron Skin to get out of there. Avoids the Lunar Flare. Lady Sky out front doing a serviceable job acting as the front line. No takedowns. No one's in serious danger just yet. This looks to be pretty even so far, Kevin.
Yeah, they are trading out the shrine pretty evenly. Gragas not even sieging, doesn't feel comfortable doing it. He's a little bit afraid, but he's constantly poking around, putting those mines down, trying to get the zoning out of the mines. And despite everything, they are going to win this temple. I think it's going to be very, very close. But the Zul has been double soaking this whole time. Oh, Gragas is so low with the poison. He needs to heal these 2 supports. Lazy Ismo Illumin's Grace comes off just in time. Gets that heal up. Finally decides to back out and just siege and play it a lot more safely. Not going to take that free poke damage anymore. Dunktrain giving up his soak, rotating down. It does get marked and haunting wave on, but does manage to get out of there. Bone Shade does save him at that level, and Sylvanas gets collapsed on and ends up going down right outside on their side of the map, and they're just so low. Even with double support, they're all so low from Lunara, and even Tyrande goes down.
They lose Tyrande, but look at H. Miko over here. He rotates around and just like, all right, well, I'm just going to Earth Shield and get the last ones. We might all lose our faces, but it's okay. It's going to be an Arcane Punisher pushing the bottom lanes. Got to get responded to. So winning the team fight is not necessarily winning the war here, but Trikslyr's got to be careful. One auto attack away. Dreadnaught is able to get him out of there. Trikslyr also has the well, so he's going to be okay. But Grogus had literally 2 health in that last progression of events. Can't cut it closer than that.
No, they lose the Punisher. They managed to kill the Sylvanas. They managed to get ahead in experience. They forced Sylvanas away, so she wasn't here when the Punisher was pushing, and as a result, they're not even going to get the complete wall, whereas that split push from Zool got 1 power top and the entire wall mid, put them a full level ahead in experience, and that's a good place to be when you're up against the Sylvanas combo on Shrines.
Yeah, I mean, the value from Dunktrain hanging out in the top lane and soaking definitely presents itself here. And that's something that Skyelight really has to be worried about. For the large portion of that Shrine fight, that was a 4v5. They should have been able to take that in a much more commanding fashion, I feel. Power slide into Hunter's Mark and Luna Flare should have at least forced someone that hit the well or Hearth back. But the staying power, thanks to Ariel, was there. There isn't any punishment for bunching up, so they were able to maximize the amount of healing that they were kicking out. And they can't afford to let that one happen too many times.
Absolutely not. And a lot of credit goes to Biceps on that Johanna. He did an exceptional job zoning. He was the one who, baited out that mark, baited out that Lunar Flare, and he used Iron Skin at just the right time to avoid it having any impact at all. He backed off for like a little bit while the mark wore off, but that was it. And then as soon as they knew that cooldown was out, because Toronto went for the full owl build, did not take that reduced cooldown at 1. They went in, reinitiated the fight, started getting those picks, and it was just so good. Sylvanas getting picked off at the top lane by Aurora Jar. That's a nice 1v1 or 2v1 because Hemeko was there as well.
That's tough. When Rhaegar has that much mana and you're losing a 1v2, that really speaks to the play potential of Roger. Getting that burst damage in thanks to the mate. No, he went secret weapon. I expected to see Boomerang. Okay, cool. Gets the kill there. Nicely done on their part. And that's going to snowball and have huge implications. Level 10's right around the corner. Shrine Fade is going to show up in the top lane. That means Bruiser Camp's becoming back. And they kind of capitalize on that as well. This is a big moment for Team Spacebear.
Very surprised to see Secret Weapon picked up over Boomerang, even though Boomerang is considered the better heroic generically for this style of build. It's so much better on this map in particular because of the ability to steal those kills on Shrines. And we see Trikslyr actually going for Leaping Strike, going for a full burst style of build with that Wild Vigor at 7. Going to try and go in, eliminate a single target, and get back out. It's a surprising decision given the amount of sustain they have from the double support, but I think he's going to be able to make it work based on what we've seen so far.
Dunktrain with the aggressive and ambitious Ancestral Mages walked into Hammer and Tyrande feeling like that was going to go better for him. Finds out they need the Hearth back. They haven't really put the pedal to the metal. They have a full level lead. They've had their heroic advantage for a while now, and they have not spent too many resources at the start getting this shrine. They haven't tried to force or press an advantage anywhere, and it's really giving Skyelight the opportunity to do exactly what they're doing now, to rotate and start to take something back.
We do see Team Spacebear pushing aggressively in the top lane while one person, Johanna, does work on the objective. They have the Bruiser Camp here as well. The Bruiser Camp's going to be able to absorb a ton of damage. And it's kind of like having a Sylvanas. As long as you have something that's eating all the shots from the buildings, you don't have to worry about him. Detainment Strike on Rhaegar, a little bit too far forward, a little bit too aggressive, does get picked off.
Can we get a Dread W in the chat? Because that Detainment Strike, I don't know if it was necessary, but those are a few style points for Dreadnaught, securing that stun to get the kill there. The Leaping Strikes were cheap from Trikslyr. I was surprised he was going to jump that far in, but when you have Dreadnaught on Ariel getting that much hope up, you're going to have a good time. Mortar Punisher is picked up, so they're going to have to start rocking and rolling with that. Level 12, 13, not too far off. This top port's more or less conceded. Rajar flies forward, trying to apply pressure. Didn't get far enough for the Gus who rolls away.
That would have been so bad if Team Skyelight had not backed up sooner. That could have been such a good Gus, especially with the hammer. You saw him there just a second ago. He has slow in rotations. Lady Sky gets Detainment Strike and gets rooted as well, but does get cleansed and power slides out of there just in time. A lot of damage coming down from from Tyrann's Lunar Shower with the zoning. That is very strong, chunked out absolutely everyone. But again, they have that Ariel. They can just group up and get healed back to full.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge push For Team Space Bear, they're really doing it. They have level 13. The Punisher is going to go down, but they should be able to clean this top wall. They don't want to chance it. They're just going to back away. Wailing Arrows up. Mosh Pit is up. They don't want to find out what it's like. They can come back and get that later. They got Dunktrain. They got Zul. They feel pretty good about it. Looking at the level 13 talents, we see Flow Rider, Crepify, so that's going to have huge implications in these closer quarters. Pestering Blossom. Good to see that one. And Burning Rage.
I imagine we're going to see Choking Pollen at 16 picked up just on the back of that for that incredible burst. Wailing Arrow gets wasted by a gust, and they force the disengage. They don't get that pick on Dunktrain that they were looking so hard for. They really want to kill Zul. They don't want this constant pressure on the map from the skeletons, but he gets away, and they're not going to get that pick.
That was a couple of heroes getting used there. Ultimately, from a cooldown standpoint, favors Team Space Bear. They still have their level 13 advantage, and they haven't really ventured to the other side of the map to really look for a team fight. But they might have just heard me. Bystep is going to lead the charge. Dunktrain's not too far behind. Anybody out of position? Hey, anybody want to fight? No? All right, I guess we'll just take your siege game.
And this is that advantage of being up the talents here. You know, the odds are not in your favor, even in a strict 5v5, which means that if you're the team that's up a talent here, you can be more aggressive. And we see, you know, Team Space Bear taking perfect advantage of that. This is what you should be doing when you're ahead. Aggressively invading the enemy side of the map, trying to get even more ahead, of using the lead that you have, pushing the lanes in, getting structure damage, and using that to get ahead on the map as well as ahead of experience.
Now, something that Ariel might lend itself to that would not favor Team Space Bear. You want to be bunched up together for those heals, right? To get the maximum amount of value. ETC would love to see that. In these closer quarters, there does stand to be more opportunities for a good mosh pit than we saw over on Dragonshire, so that could be a thing. Level 13's picked up for Skyelight, so they're going to be able to fight this on even talent series. That's a good start for them. Looking at that, you're going to see Face Melt, Giant Killer, Wind Runner, Jury still out for Tyrande and Rhaegar.
And this is going to be an even talent tier fight on a shrine. They do have a lot of kill potential. They have the mosh pit. They have the zoning potential from Starfall. We do see Shrink Ray and Earth Shield finally picked up, and I think they can win this shrine if they go about it the right way. They need to make sure that when they get for that, they go for that mosh. Rarjar either has Gust on cooldown or is in the mosh. They want to go for these clever flanks, and they're trying to fight in lane instead of on the shrine. And I don't necessarily agree with that decision.
Lady Sky has to get the Ancestral Healing rather early. Might have been able to get away, but it's better to just keep the team alive rather than try to conserve resources and see him go down. Shrine hasn't even been activated yet, so neither one of these teams are really looking to get things started. You're going to see the Bruiser Camp get picked up for Team Space Bear. Shrine is going to be activated. This is going to be interesting.
I love that cap on the Bruiser Camp. Team Space Bear abusing the fact that the wave difference with Team Skyelight is so weak. And even if they lose the shrine, they're going to have that constant pressure. And that's going straight to a keep. That wall is pretty much gone. But if they lose the shrine, there's still a possibility that Team Skyelight can come back. Sylvanas pushing with the Punisher.
Yeah, I mean, this late in the game, along with Sergeant Hammer, one Punisher could easily lead to a keep if the team fight is won in convincing enough fashion. Root goes down on Sylvanas, who's not convinced he's going with Wailing Arrows, streaks across, lands on a couple of members. Lady Sky cannot land this one on the Rarjar, so he's going to be able to just float away. Ancestral Mages go down. It's 32 to 23. This could go either way, but right now, being pushed out of it is Team Space Bear. So I do think this Punisher should go. Oh, wait! That's a progression.
That felt bad. Gragas was actually focusing on trying to use his Lava Strike to get those picks, to get people low, but they weren't low enough that would have killed them. If he'd used those Lava Strikes instead on the minions and stayed on the shrine and they focused exclusively on winning the shrine, they would have 100% won that. Instead, they overcommitted into the lane again, not focusing on the objective. They got baited fighting off of the point with all of their area damage, and they lost 2 kills and ended up losing the shrine as a result. It's a good bait from Team Space Bear, but it's Team Skylight's the one that fell for it.
Yeah, Skylight's like, you know, alright, carried an X Divide. Wait, we did the power slide. Why did we lose 2 people out of that? And that's huge, because it gave them the level 16 tier advantage. You're going to walk through this middle keep wall. To Skylight's credit, they are able to burn down this Punisher in a rather swift fashion, thanks to Sergeant Hammer. She's pretty neat on that front. So you're going to see the members of Team Space Bear rotate back. They have no reason to stay there anymore. Just going to keep applying pressure. They like the way this has been going for them. They don't need to stick their neck out and make too many aggressive moves. But again, they have the tier advantage.
Team Spacer sees this is a 5v4. They see the Tyrande Owl coming from the top lane, and they're like, oh, well, you're not all here. We're perfectly willing to engage in a 5v4 and keep pushing this. We want to get more structure damage. We want to get these walls. We want the next Punisher to guarantee us a keep, and the only way that's going to happen is push this wall in. We have the Zool. We have a wave with us. This is something we can easily get done, and they are going to work down at least one of these towers for backing up and maybe get the entire wall.
Are they going to do it? They're sticking around. Dreadnaught has plenty of hope. The rest of his team is offering that to him. They're doing a good job kicking out steady damage. They do get the last tower before leaving. And you know you are in a tough spot when you send Tyrande off on their own to soak to try to get on even talent tiers. I mean, that's like watching paint dry. Seeing Tyrande try to clear a wave by herself. This is a respite for Skyelight that they need right now because they need to get to 16 if they want to try to turn this around.
I mean, and they can turn this around. They're not so far down. Team Spacer will not be able to get 20 before the next shrine, which means they are going to have another chance at an even talent tier fight with all of their heroics up. They get 16. They're actually looking to aggressively posture right now. They do see Falstad clearing that wave in the top lane. They're hoping they can force a 5v4 right now, but they actually get seen in lane. And Team Space Bear is aware of what's going on and rotates up to be with Falstad, so they're going to be together as 5. Does not work out for them.
Yeah, they caught him on that rotation up. They were like, "Hey, the buddy system. We're not gonna do all that." So they stick around as 5. This is gonna be another one of those interesting moments. But here we go. We do see the aggressive play from Team Space Bear with this keep already damaged thanks to that bruiser camp earlier. This thing gets shredded for free, and they're gonna rotate back. That's huge.
We'll be catapult spawning in that lane from now on, and that's the lane where the Punisher is going to be spawning from here on out. Team Skyelight needs to win this Punisher, and they need to get a keep off of it. They need to even out the lane situation. I'm surprised to see Imposing Presence picked up at 16 for ETC. This is one of the maps where Echo Pedal gets so much value in helping you win the shrine, and they've always been just a little bit off from winning the shrine. That extra wave clear would have helped them out so much as well on the map, because it's been such a problem for them. Lady Sky going so deep with the power slide when their team's not even all there, but the Ancestral comes down just in time to save her, but Rhaegar gets absolutely erased by Trikslyr with the Leaping Strike. Slay that combo over and over and over again. Dunktrain is so low. Lunara dies to Starfall, and this is going to be such a close fight if they can get Dunktrain, but no, Lady Sky is so low. Wastes the mosh pit, and it ends up being a 3-for-2.
This is an outright bloodbath. Are you kidding me? You're seeing bodies drop on either side. I mean, Lady Sky started all that off. She dove so deep, she needs scuba gear. She was eating tower shots after that power slide. It ends up actually going in the favor numerically for Team Space Bear 3-2. Gragas continues to hang around in the shrine area and finds out that was a bad idea.
Put it mildly, he doesn't have an escape at this point. He burned all his survivability cooldowns. I mean, picking up 1 or 2 extra minions is not going to be enough to win the shrine. Whereas, being alive, maybe they can get back in time to do something about it. But not now, not with that staggered death timer. We do see Himeko in the bottom trying to grab the siege camp just to provide some sort of split lane pressure. But this is going to be 20 versus 17 with a Punisher pushing onto an open lane. They do have a chance of baiting into the middle keep and being okay. They might not lose the game here. It is possible to defend, but it's going to be very difficult.
I mean, it's going to be a struggle, that's for sure. We're going to go ahead and pick up this bruiser camp in the top left corner, enjoying a 20 tier Storm talent tier advantage. Crazy times. I mean, Team Spacebar has been kind of peppering them with the jab, landed a hook here and there, but this is the setup for the knockout punch. They got a bruiser camp, catapults, and a mortar Punisher with which to follow up stuns once he starts jumping in. Skyelight has the work cut out.
It's all going to come down to how well they do this first bait into the middle keep. And that's going to define the rest of this engagement. They don't have any sort of, they don't have Gus, right? They don't have Emerald Wind. They don't have anything that can push people off while they deal with the Punisher. So it's going to be, 6v5 essentially, the Punisher and all of Space Bear versus they do manage to bait it into the middle keep very well. Lady Sky positioned that perfectly. The zoning Starfall comes down, starts doing a lot of damage to the Punisher. Gragas being very aggressive, using his Z aggressively to try and get a kill on Rarjar. Rarjar barrel rolls out, not going to be a factor. Lady Sky, meanwhile, getting focused by Dunktrain. And he does barely manage to get out of there, and Sashwell does come down on Gragas. Goofy hunting waves out. A little key, but Izzy gets jumped by the Punisher and does manage to have tap available and has to evacuate from his own base in order not to die. Biceps does get indestructible proc, walks into a tower, is marked. They might be able to pick off on him. They do finally get a kill. Oh, Lady Sky's so low, 97 health, finally goes down, and that's a 1 for 4 for 1. And 20 picked up for Team Skyelight.
This was insane, man. The Tyrande Owl had me cracking up. It was like Kobe from way downtown lands the orb. And what was tough about that, Roger actually barrel rolled in anticipation and unfortunately rolled into the Owl to seal their fate. This is tough because this many people down with Sylvanas, they could definitely look to end the game. Dreadnaught is out on an island. Spotlight is on you, good sir, because I'm not sure how you salvage this one.
And this is easily, I think, going to be game. Hammer on core is something we haven't seen in a long time, but it is very difficult to deal with. They're not going to take any damage getting this keep down because of that Sylvanas. They don't have anyone to really absorb the core shots, but they have double support, so taking that damage isn't going to matter. Falstad with the gusting. Hammer away is so important at this point. Hammer is going to re-siege, but that's a critical delay. Goofy is extremely low. He's going to have to be forced to back out here. And that could have been a kill. Goofy with the... Wow, the Shrink Ray plus the Windrunner allows Goofy to get that kill and not get picked off. Biceps is alive, though. The blinds are going to negate the hammer damage. I think they just have to leave. They're going to get the core to 77%. They got to keep. They don't want to die. They get another pick on Trikslyr, but Goofy finally goes down, as does Gragas on hammer, as does Rhaegar. And Izzy might be able to get out of here, but I don't think it's going to happen. Dunktrain's mounted up and has that root cooldown available. This is going to be a reverse kill.
Dude, are you freaking kidding me? What the heck is going on in this game? Everybody's trying to throw. So generous, so kind. Hey, no, you can have the game. No, you can have the game. Another 4-person swing the other way with only Lady Sky up. It's gonna have a tough time keeping back these catapults and everybody else. That game was very much in the hands of Skyelight, but an impressive stand from Team Space Bear showing, hey, we got some pro players out here, so I don't think you're gonna be able to get away too cheekily here. But that was close, man.
So close. If they just accepted the 77% or the 80% damage and gotten those last 2 kills, it would have been so much better, but they made the decision to stay. It's so rough. The Death Mosh comes down and actually catches 2 people in it, but it's not going to matter. Core goes down, and we're at 1-1.
What the heck, man? What kind of game is that? This is Chair League, folks. This is Chair League where there is no shortage of excitement and drama. I mean, once I saw that Punisher get picked up, I knew the game was over there. Once I saw 4 members of Team Spacebar go down and Skyelight stroll across that map, take that evening jaunt with Sylvanas, I knew the game was over there. I wasn't expecting all that. That third act plot twist is serious.
Apparently, we're getting confirmation from Trikslyr in chat that he misclicked his 13 talent, so we're allowed to make fun of him for it now.
Rip. Well, Lady Sky, both teams have now escalated here. They're ready to go because I hardly got out of the loading screen, and Lady Sky was like, "We want Tomb." So the relaxed, casual atmosphere is starting to dissipate because these teams are like, "All right, you got a game on us on game 2. We kind of dropped that one, so we're not gonna have that happen again." And Team Space Bear is like, you know, we were just kind of joking around with the Cho'Gall, Ariel, and all right, you guys took it there. You made this a little more serious. So I'm excited to see how this third game plays out. I'm getting the lobby. I got you invited in. Fighting Lady Sky, getting all the pieces in place on that front. But man, I was hoping this game was gonna go to game 3. I didn't know it was gonna go like that though.
And I mean, Team Skyelight, they drafted a comp where they really wanted to focus on winning the shrines, and they had 3 opportunities where they could have won the shrine, and they opted to focus on the team fight instead if they just hadn't done that. So, I mean, in this case, the objective is in lane, and they were fighting in lane all the time on Infernal Shrine, so I think that's why they picked this map. They pursue that strategy on this map, they should win.
Yeah, I mean, their odds definitely increase on that front. It was It was tough for them because on the side of Team Space Bear, they were the team actually securing kills, which was something you don't exactly see every day. Going up against ETC Tyrande, when we saw those pickups in draft, we're like, all right, so the onus is definitely on them to get those kills early. So to be like have 0 takedowns that late in the game, that was of note. I'm wondering if they're gonna adjust their strategy a little bit. The double specialist has gotten value for them, but they might want to look for a hero that has a little more umph in their burst damage potential if they want to try to take these team fights better.
Or they could go Asmodean.
Fair. Fair point. Profile says Vikings B-step in game 1 was a critical error.
B-stepping in a best of any series, unless it's best of 1, is probably a bad idea because you're going to make your opponents try a little harder.
I mean,
they're going to be like, we don't want to lose to that guy.
So we're going to have a quick 2-minute break. I was asked by one of the players for that. No problem. I mean, this has been high stakes, breakneck action and everything else. So 2-minute break is fine with me. I was watching the Twitch chat some during the cast, and I actually forgot that I had the Twitch alert on during the match. I ideally look to turn that off. So that's a fair point, because I was hearing the follows come through, and we've been getting a ton of follows. Like, thank you so much. Don't only follow me. I'm not the only guy casting. I'm joined by the Socrates of Heroes of the Storm, Cavalier Guest. You can find him on Twitter at Cavalier Guest and twitch.tv/Cavalier Guest.
Appreciate the plug. That was actually a really long game. I mean, it started out when they started losing in the early game. I figured that game wasn't going to go very long, but Team Skyelight managed to drag it out for quite a bit. In the end, there, I really wish they'd just gone that keep and then not have been as aggressive.
Oh, rip! Lobby's bugged again. I mean, wild is the word the kids are using these days. That was a wild game, man. It's a wild scene, man. All right, so let me make sure Roger can get in specifically. If he can get in, then all right, there we go. Let me hit the invite game. Can you jump out of that lobby? I'll invite you.
I'm in this one.
Oh,
Way ahead.
look at you. See, Socrates. Got members of Team Space Bear. You know, I bet you Dunktrain and Dreadnaught's blood, like, their adrenaline's pumping now. Because they're competitors, man. They do casting stuff now, but losing that game 1, seeing that things were starting to escalate, and then taking that game 2 in that fashion, like, I'd be pumped up. I'd be like, yeah, like, I'd be ready for game 3. Lady Sky and Skylight are ready too, so it's going to be fun.
I think it's a psychological thing. A lot of people think that you can't, like, want to just have fun and also want to win. That's not true. You can want to just have fun and be doing it for fun, but you still want to win. You want to feel like you did the best with what you were doing, even if what you were doing was kind of goofy, which was certainly true in that first game.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Don't get me wrong, Ariel Cho'Gall does work. It's just tough to do it on Dragonshire. And Night Lightable, I'm planning to move to the Tampa area by the end of the year. If not then the beginning stages of 2017. BlizzCon's a whole thing. Had definitely threw a curveball at my budget. But I'm excited. You know, I had never been to Tampa before. I went down there in April. Took a road trip by myself. I live in Virginia right now. So I took a road trip down there. I'd always wanted to go. Everybody said nice things about it. And I ended up having such a good time. Like, I was hanging out at St. Pete Beach and stuff. I was like, I think I could be pretty happy here. I've lived in the DC area for almost 12 years now. So I might be due for a change. That's the plan.
That's fair. I've moved to almost 8 states for pretty much the same reason. It's like, you know, I could do with a change.
Oh, super sure. They're gonna cast my game on. I'm casting Friday. I don't. Cavalier Guest might be casting Friday night. I mean,
I'm casting Friday.
You are?
I am.
All right. I mean, if I'm around, I'd love to join you. But yeah, me and Cavalier Guest always have a good time. He's the knowledge guy. He's the Socrates. I just laugh when people eat owls in the back of the face from off the screen. I'm back there still. Thanks for the follows, guys. I really appreciate it. The dance scene. Oh, you live in the Tampa area? Cool. So I'll know somebody, because that's the other element. I don't know anybody there.
Wait, but what kind of dancing are we talking about here? Because there's like people who are into club dancing, and that's nice and all, but I'm a partner dancer. I want my salsa, my ballroom, my bachata, my kizomba. I need it. I need to make sure I'm dancing with someone for it to be fun.
Great. Oh yeah, draft link. That'd be good. Let me get the draft. We need to add. I know Reno is crazy, man. Well, I don't know if you see who's playing. There's a good reason. Let's see. Oh, draft links are already made. Oh, sweet. See that there? Guys, gentlemen and scholars. I like that. They're ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm excited, man. This went from the pedal got put to the metal for real by the halfway through game 2. Wow, Roy's gonna throw me out there. I am though. I have an uncle I want to live by St. Peter's. Oh, nice. And yeah, I know that J-Hal lives down there. I already told him. When I get down there, we're gonna hang out. And then first time I meet him, I'm gonna take a selfie at like my height. So all you're gonna see is like his chin, because I've seen him do that to so many people the other way around that I feel like it's a little SJW to kind of get him back on that. I can't wait to do that. Just the little things. But the draft is underway. Tomb of the Spider Queen, Team Space Bear. We're gonna have first band, first pick priority, because Skyelight wanted to take us here. Zagara comes into the equation. Zool comes into the equation. Sylvanas as well. You're going to see Sylvanas get banned out.
Oh, dude, look at that respect ban. I mean, Sylvanas is good on this map, but it's not her best map by any stretch of the imagination. But Skylight's picked it 2 games out of 2 games so far. And Team Space was like, we're not going to deal with that again. We see you playing Sylvanas. We see you're really good at it. We're just like, no. And that's got to feel good. It's always got to feel good to draw a respect ban from the enemy team. But from this team, it's got to feel especially good.
Yeah, I mean, they let Sylvanas through the second round, and I was like, I don't know about all that. And then, sure enough, it almost cost them the game. I mean, they were able to respawn in time and everything else, but a little bit of respect shown for Zool as well. And Team Space Bear wasted no time in picking up Zagara.
And Zagara right now, best solo laner in the game, bar none. Vision is so critical to the Spider Queen to guard those turn-ins. Creep tumors give you vision. I really hope Skylight bans Zool having a plan to deal with Zag, because if they didn't ban it with having a specific plan to deal with Zagara in the draft, that's a lane that they're guaranteed to lose.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, there's not too many heroes that can adequately stand up to that. Thrall has a shot, but so long as Zagara position themselves properly, that's going to be a chore, to say the least. I'm wondering if this is going to inspire a more dive-focused composition from Skylight. Lady Sky has used ETC for games 1 and 2 of this set. Definitely seems like a comfort pick of sorts. So maybe we might see ETC get picked up here. That's a hero that synergizes quite well with Brawl. Low power slide, sundering action, mosh pit. Everybody has a good time. Then everybody's dancing. So I'm curious to see where they go. Oh, Rowboat's around here somewhere. I saw the meat caster thing in Lord Boo. Yeah, J.L. and I casted one night, and we kept hanging out on stream afterwards, and it took a turn, man. That was a fun night. I had a lot of fun. But,
Pick up here from Skylight. They locked in the Falstad. This can be a good map for Falstad, but it's overall considered one of his weaker maps because the global doesn't have as big an impact. If you're in that 4-man rotation, That usually happens between mid and top. You can get a lot of stacks very early on with your Q, or you can even go for the hybrid build, which is something we see in EU sometimes, taking Seasoned Marksman at level 1 and getting it stacked up very quickly while getting still getting the rest of the mage talents up to Boomerang, Airy Gust, Flow Rider. But Team Space Bear, I feel like they probably want to lock in their tank and their support right here. Just because, Skyelight hasn't locked those in. Those are going to be the focus on the pickups. They opt to lock in Kerrigan. So that's their bruiser, that's their frontliner, that's their response to that fragile Falstad. They're going to look for those dive possibilities and the Li Ming for the follow-up. Oof.
Uh-oh. I mean, Team Space Bear is wide awake right now. In previous drafts, we saw what I felt to be a more passive approach. You weren't really locking in your damage too much. Ariel was getting picked up before the second ban phase. But no, they're like, we're looking to scrap. We're looking to rotate the hard way. Kerrigan, Li Ming, that's how you start to delete people. If I'm Team Space Bear, I would not let them get ETC. I can tell you that. Uther's going to be the ban. Skyelight has a couple of picks after this one. And I just feel like ETC has to be one of these 3 next choices.
I like that Uther ban. It's it's a comfort ban for both Dunktrain and Dreadnaught. Also, arguably the best support to pair with Kerrigan because of the way Divine Shield interacts with Maelstrom to stack up those huge shields. This gives Kerrigan an entire second life bar, especially if you do it around a bunch of little minions, which are always around on Tomb of the Spike Queen. You can just fight in the middle of the minion wave and get so much value out of that. I like those bans. I like the fact that they're limiting the supports. I'm curious to see what support Skyelight is going to pick up. Rhaegar is still available, and they've been showing us a strong preference for that all night.
Now, Cavalier, I'm about to ask you the most Kappa question of all heroes. Are you ready?
All right.
Do you think with the Ariel and Uther ban that Team Space Bear has deep enough a support pool?
You never know. You never know. It's possible that they might be out of practice,
dude,
and they don't feel comfortable playing any of the other sports, but I kind of doubt it.
I've never directly spoken with Dreadnaught or Dunktrain, but after that question, they might have a few disparaging comments for me. But it's all in good fun. I just had to ask because they're 2 of the best NA supports ever. So seeing Ariel get banned out after they had Ariel for the first 2 games, it was just an interesting point. Rhaegar, ETC are going to get picked up. I agree with both of those choices. After the Uther ban and Ariel going out, the top support picks were few and far between. And Team Space Bear had to realize that Rhaegar was likely going to get snapped away. So that's kind of why I was asking. It's funny. And yeah, ETC cannot go over to Team Space Bear with this setup.
They do lock in that Johanna. I'm a little bit concerned that Skyelight hasn't been picking up mages ever. I'm kind of hoping they pick up a mage here. Jaina and Kael'thas both have very reasonable wave clear. And a lot of potential synergies. In the follow-up of Gravity Lapse, 2 Power Slide can be very strong. Jaina with Ring of Frost and Mosh can be very strong as well. So I'm really hoping that they opt to lock in a mage this time and not go for yet another specialist. But Team Space Bear, spending a long time thinking about which support they want, maybe they're not entirely comfortable with their remaining options.
I mean, it more or less comes down to Karazim and Brightwing, in my opinion. I'm not sure who else would really work in a solo support fashion with those left on the table. I doubt we'd see Malfurion.
I mean, we could see Morales. Morales has been very popular.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah. That's right. They do like their Morales. That's fair. I forgot about Morales. Right. Yeah. And looking at Skylight's composition, they again are not the most dive heavy. But Sundering Power Slide Mosh Pit is a free ride to the enemy team back line. That's something that they got to worry about when those heroics are going to be off of cooldown. My eyes are definitely on Morales and their ability to stay alive in these team fights.
That is giving them a significant number of interrupts for Mosh. They potentially have Maw. Potentially everyone on their team will have the ability to interrupt Mosh Pit, which is a good place to be in against an ETC because you just have to make sure that you're never grouped as 5 and you're pretty much always interrupted. And gold. Well, I wanted to pick up a mage, and they did not disappoint me. They locked in Gul'dan.
Oh, Lady Skies whispered me and said that she picked Tyrael.
Oh, wow.
The Gul'dan is Tyrael?
Okay. That's triple frontline with just Falstad as that backline damage. That is going to give them a Divine Shield, essentially a Sanctification for Mosh Pit, making it uninterruptible. They can coordinate that. That will be very strong. It can also negate the value of Maelstrom to a significant degree. She won't get those shields because she won't have any actual damage being done. I don't know if they're going to have enough wave clear again, though.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it gives them staying power in these team fights. It gives them an escape hatch if the Sundering Mosh Pit doesn't work out and they dive all in and it's like, oh, this is awkward. We're kind of sitting here right now. This kind of feels bad. So they have that going for them. But I feel like they might be feeling some of the pressure here. Because, like I said, the bear is awake. We go from a first ban Gazlo to an aggressive high skill cap hero like Carrion. Team Space Bears, they're ready to play. The gloves are off, and Skyelight might have been like, we might want sanctification. Like, we might want to stay alive. This could get rough. So I expect to see some really aggressive play. Skyelight can do it. I mean, they're good players, obviously. But I think we're gonna see a strong game now.
An interesting switch up. It looks like Team Skylight's debating who is going to play what. Currently, Lady Sky has Falstad selected, and both H-Mecho and Goofy have Tyrael selected. I'm curious to see who's going to end up on what. They might not have enough. They might not have the players to play the roles the way they thought they were going to be playing them.
It'll get awkward. Hero pools come into question potentially, and they're still double Falstad. You can't do that.
One of those reasons that double tank is so hard to run for most professional teams, even though they agree that it's probably the strongest thing to do in the meta right now, it's just they don't have enough tank players.
Right. So someone's decided. It looks like it's going to be Lady Sky on ETC. So they did manage to sort that one out. Another mystery solved. It was the meddling kids. The farm is saved. I don't even know. But we got 8 out of 10 players ready. Nobody's more ready to see this than me. I'm glad you guys are here. Again, this is Chair League. It's a recreational league. You can sign up individually or as a team. This happens to be a pro division set, so you're going to see the highest tier and caliber of Chair League play. And in this immediate case, with some of the people on this roster, heroes at all. So I'm excited to see this. Go over to chairleague.com. You can join in on this fun and excitement yourself. And we'd love to see you there. Fun. And then my cat meows. Lord Boo asked for Rowboat. That's your wish. And hey, Pensive Goat. Pensive as always, I see. I say that to them every time I see. We're loading into the game now. I'm excited. I'm excited,
but I'm also just concerned that Team Skylight is 2 games in a row just hasn't quite drafted enough wave clear to counter what Team Space Bear has been doing.
It's a little spooky.
I'm concerned about that Trahana. I'm concerned about the amount of wave clear she offers and how well she was played last game. She even got an interrupt on a mosh that she was in. She knew it was coming and anticipated it with the condemn. I just don't see how they're going to get value out of the ETC. It's just... We'll have to see. I have faith, though. They did so well in that game 1 that I'm very excited to see what they can pull off here.
Cavalier, we're about to find out, man. This is game 3, the deciding match. Over on the left side, we got Team Space Bear. Rajar's on Zagara. Dunktrain is playing Morales. Trikslyr's on Kerrigan. Dreadnaught's playing Li Ming. Biceps is on Johanna.
For Team Skylight on the right, we have Lady Sky again on ETC, H-Mecho and Falstad, Goofy on Tyrael, Grogos on Thrall, and Izzy Ismo on that Rhaegar. Definitely switching up their roles a little bit.
Flash of the proverbial Titans, both teams venturing mid, seeing if they can catch somebody out of position. Biceps turns on the flashlight, spots a couple of members. A little bit of poke from Grogos. No one's venturing too far, making too cheeky a play. I'm actually excited to see Dreadnaught. He's been on Ariel the past 2 games, so now he's playing a much more aggressive hero and Li Ming, so I'm excited to see that shift in play.
I like what Roger's doing in the bottom lane here, securing the creep at those vents, meaning it's going to be almost impossible to rotate on him gank, and that's what's going to happen. Because you're not going to beat Zagara in lane, you're going to have to rotate people down there, try and get the pick, make that happen, and that's just not going to happen with that creep already set up, and very limited creep clear available for Team Skyelight.
I mean, this is a different style of map from Tomb of the Spider Queen. As far as the wave clear front goes, Skylight could kind of get away with having lesser wave clear because the map objective stipulated that people were going to one side, one spot in the map. Everybody. Tomb of the Spider Queen is a much more free flow map, so the wave clear, I feel, is a lot more impactful. So I'm wondering if they are going to end up kicking themselves in the end.
Just about to see Gragas in the bottom lane, almost going to get picked off by... Oh, Roger almost does it, but not quite enough with that last bile drop. But Gragas so entirely low, is already forced to tap, and his towers are just about out of ammo. And this is why you can't let Zagara through a draft, because there's no way to deal with her in that solo lane.
That guy 293387 just donated $100 saying keep up the great order. Holy crap, man! Thank you. Wow. All right. I mean, that's kind of blue screening there for a little bit. But I'm going to try, man. I'm going to try. Rotation up top. Wave clear is serious. Biceps doing what he can. Applying pressure to Goofy. He's going to have Eldruins might hit 2 mains. But no, he's looking to actually be aggressive here. Lady Sky on the flank shows up. Trikslyr at half health. Dunktrain has plenty of mana. So he's like, hey, man, if you guys want to scrap, that's fine by us. Level 4 is around the corner, though, for Team Space Bear. So they can look to press a small advantage once that comes through.
We can see Team Skylight forced to play very, very passive, but they're leaving Falstad in the top lane so they don't miss any of that stuff. They finally rotate down, trying to get the pick on Rarjar, and they are going to do it. Nice power slide from Lady Sky. She tries to get a little bit of the counter damage, but before that happened, she got the entire front wall in the bot lane.
I mean, that's a huge play for them. They do lose the bottom wall. That's big in and of itself, right? Obviously. But Gragas was able to bait Rarjar for it long enough for that rotation to happen. That's then the first takedown in the game. It should slow down the rotation from Team Space Bear, but they're like, nah, you know, it's all right. We're up in experience. We don't need to send someone down there. The Kerrigan combo goes down on Lady Sky. The Condemn follow-up. ETC is a pretty thick one to take down. The Lady Sky power slides in. Dunktrain getting the focus fire put on him. Master back right. No, he goes down anyway, and then Kerrigan follows afterwards. They find a way to get to the medic.
Very close to having someone go down as well on Team Skylight, but didn't quite happen, so Li Ning did not get those resets. That was very well played from Team Skylight. We do see Gragas on Thrall rotating back down to that bottom lane to try and continue to deal with Rarjar. Can still get pushed out of that lane. We really need to find some way to put more pressure on the Zagara in that lane, preferably get that well, get those walls away so that she can't continually safely just back up. And we do see Rarjar trying to turn in. He backs off, just trying to continue to poke. It is worth noting that Rarjar did lose all of the gems he had picked up in that bot lane, so they're losing a third of their total gem income right now. Team Skylight has enough gems to turn in as a result, and Team Space Bear does not.
Yeah, I mean, that has huge implications. They are not at 50 gems anymore. Rarjar drops his coin purse in the bottom lane. The small experience advantage still favors Team Space Bear for the moment. They've been pretty steady and resolute in this 4-person rotation, keeping up the experience for the moment. But they're going to have to catch back up in these gems if they want to try to press some kind of advantage on that front.
It's surprisingly even experience right now. They're a little bit ahead despite losing that wall, mostly because it's those 3 kills at the beginning. And this is what they needed to do with that Tron ETC competition in the last game. They needed to get those picks. They could be doing better. They could be getting more of these picks, but if they keep this up, if they keep winning these fights, they're going to be in really good shape. This is what they need to do. This is what you need to do on Tomb when you have inferior wave clear to the enemy team. You need to make sure you're getting kills, killing their wave clears so that you can start to get ahead again in the lanes. And if they could finish a turn-in, that would be a really big advantage for them.
Yeah, I mean, this double warrior front line's actually been really paid. Oh, the 3-person stun combination on 3 members of Skylight. Lady Sky is able to get away with it. Kudos to you, Trikslyr. If you're watching this through the Chair League website, he definitely deserves a few clicks off of that. 45 gems turned in, 30 in the pockets of Skylight, so they do stand to get the first turn in, but it's now 54. in possession of Team Space Bear, so they can look the same. They protect Biceps, that's 37, that's huge. Edgemiko does break up the channel. Lady Sky eating a bunch of damage. Trikslyr on Kerrigan finds the power slide. Tough to deal with, the cleanse is there. He's able to actually leap with his Q to escape. Dunktrain is a hero, keeping his teammate alive. The turnaround engagement is serious. Nets a kill on ETC, that is big, Cavalier.
And this is why you ban Morales. She's so hard to deal with if you don't have really good focus fire, really good engage potential. You can't, it's almost impossible to kill someone that Morales is actively healing. You need to either completely run her out of mana or just dive her. There's no, or make sure you're killing multiple people at the same time, but they don't have enough area of effect to do that last one. So they're going to struggle with this all game long if they can't flank the Morales, can't get her out of position. They're just not going to be able to kill anyone who's actively healing. The first kills they got, Morales was, not there, and then the second time she died first. So they need to focus on that. It's a real concern.
Focus Morales for GG. Focus Morales for GG. I mean, I completely agree with you. 9.5 right now for Team Space Bear. They definitely would love to have their heroics for this push and have quite heavy representation in the mid lane. They're definitely eyeing this fort. Goofy's out front, valiantly trying to stave this off. Edgemiko with the point with the poke damage. Not going to be enough. First fort's going to drop.
That does pick up level 10 for Team Space Bear. We do see instantly locked in Maw, Maelstrom, Wave of Force, Blessed Shield, and a hold off. Hold off for Dunktrain on his heroic. He does end up going medevac, but is going to give global mobility on this tiny map. They can instantly win a team fight and go for boss, or win a team fight and go for keep, core. It's going to give them a lot of strategic options, and I think with a team like this, having strategic options is something you just don't want them to have.
That's a somewhat aggressive power slide from Lady Sky. It seemed like Edgemiko thought that they were actually going to try to engage, and that's why he found himself at half health. You don't want to do that with your heroics, but who am I to judge? They're going to go ahead and try to turn on this, and Falstad finds out that's a tough idea. The two-person Kerrigan combo. I don't know if this is going to be over. Goofy is able to help their teammates get away. Lady Sky is able to power slide out. But that was a needless gesture, in my opinion. And then meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom,
Raw goes down again in the bot lane to Rajar.
Rajar is a beast, man.
Yeah, again, this is why you can't let a team have Zag on this map. Look at this creep highway, all the way pushed up almost to their keep wall, complete vision, complete control. Other than that one pick in the early game, Rajar has just played Zag almost perfectly, constantly pushing through out of lane. It's just so hard to deal with Zag right now on this patch. It's one of the reasons we see her banned constantly at the professional level. There's just not that many heroes who can deal with her in lane, and even the heroes that can hypothetically deal with her in lane have to be played at a very high level to actually pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, she's a handful for sure. The red web weavers do go in. That is huge. 71 in the coin purse before that happened. We do have a bit of an engagement here, but this is something of a dicey angle. These are pretty cramped quarters. Power slide, mosh pit, sanctification could have huge implications in this team fight. If they go search for it, and Bim is out. Biceps goes into Mighty Gust, isolates Biceps. He looks around, he's like, oh, there's a lot of red, and I'm not seeing any blue. Johanna gets their face ripped off.
That was an amazing Mighty Gust, actually. Johanna popped Iron Skin. Gust happened. She was unstoppable. She didn't get gusted away, whereas the entire rest of her team did. Trikslyr goes in for the aggression, does get the Maw out of there because of the zoning Maw. And that's 3 people in the Maw. Trikslyr re-engages, gets the Ravage on the Thrall, picks him off. And that will end up being a 1-for-1. The leaning resets for the aggressively chased. Goofy's gonna go down. I think there's no way he actually kills anyone here. He dies for nothing.
He got body blocked for real. I mean, that has to be. You're on the other end of that. Mysterio's like, hey, I'm used to doing this, so this feels awful. I mean, that was a scrappy team fight. I love the Mighty Gust. Definitely kicked things off. Biceps entirely isolated by that. But in the end, it feels like Team Space Bear ends up coming out with a smile on their face. They have a 13-tier advantage. They did not lose any of their structures. They have all 3 forts. They're well on their way to having another turn in. I mean, that's tough because Skyelight played it well. They started that team fight off well, so to come out the other end like this is tough.
It seemed like such, nice power slide onto Rajar, stuck his nose into that vent when he shouldn't have, ends up getting kicked off. He was just trying to place creep for the vision. Sunder onto Dreadnaught with the gust into the wall, does manage to teleport over, is going to be fine. That's 2 heroics burned for not getting a pick. They did so well picking up Rajar, and they did not get that pick on the But now with Trikslyr, the power slide again. Maelstrom is popped for the sustain. Condemn comes down. Falstad gets the kill. Sanctification comes down, but too late to save Falstad. And Lady Sky might go down as well, and it does face melt biceps off of them. And Goofy should have Eldruins up to get out of here. The grenade comes down, double combo. One cleanse happens, and they manage to get out of there. Oh, the chase on that was so incredibly long. Trikslyr landed so many combos. Dreadnaught did so much follow-up work, but Izzy Ismo managing to keep his team alive.
Yeah, I mean that forced him from a. He couldn't get time to turn in those 50 gems he had with his team getting beat up on. I mean, Trikslyr pulled the ultimate Admiral Akbar impersonation. He had like no health, and then Skyelight was like, "Oh, this is great! Like we can go in after him." And then they're like, "Oh, that's right, we can't." Morales. Oh. So that was a nice turnaround by Team Space Bear. They're actually going to try to stack this up. They started the boss. They still have their tier advantage. So Skylight would be going up here to try to interrupt this. It would be scary for them to try.
I don't know if Team Skylight's doing that. They have, I mean, they're down a talent tier, but 13 is the least impactful talent tier. They saw the turn in. They saw boss still being aggroed on the map. They know they're at boss. They could have easily gone up there and tried to contest. They have Sunder for the potential steal. They had Gust. They didn't necessarily have to win the fight. They could have just stolen boss and left, which would have made this push so much less threatening. They decided often to play safe and get their team, but now they're going to be forced to deal with boss plus Web Weavers pushing in their top lane and Web Weavers in every other lane. I think they're going to lose a keep here. I don't think that this is a situation they wanted to let themselves get into.
I'm hearing that Jaws music. Rogus was hanging out in the back end of this for a while, and now he gets spotted out. Thanks to the creep and the awareness by Dunktrain, so he's like, hey man, I don't want any sunderings like that. But this is a ton of siege pressure going on the top court. This top keep is in jeopardy. Got the boss and Web Weaver doing everything that they can to knock this keep down. Mosh Pit is up. Mighty Gust is up. Sanctification, Sundering, the whole shebang. Goofy might want that. He does use the Sanctification, keeps himself afloat. The Mosh Pit getting next to no value. Goofy, next to no health, has to back away. Ancestral Healing lands on Falstad, resets his health bar. But meanwhile, the boss is casually strolled up to the core. This could be the game right here.
This is a full talent tier advantage as a result of that push. I mean, this is why they needed to fight at the boss point. It's just too conservative not to do it. They're going to get the real shield away on core. They're going to get real damage. And then they're going to force the back. They might lose other keeps to these Web Weavers push. Certainly the next Web Weaver push that's going to happen in a little bit is going to get it. And they can't... Oh, medevac to the bottom lane. They want to secure this other keep, but they're coming in right into the middle of the enemy team, but not everyone is there. Izzy Ismo doesn't leave quite in time. Force of Will puts him in a corner, and he ends up going down to that Kerrigan combo.
Rhaegar was like, oh, excuse me, I'm trying to leave, guys. Oh, wait, nope. Kerrigan combo secures the fate of Doggy. He gets blown up. The Kerrigan combo after the Devouring Maul is dead serious. He's going to claim 2 lives on the side of Skylight. It's got to feel bad.
It is going to be another keep. I don't think they're going to try and end here. Falstad with Gust will be able to push them off if they try and potentially get a pick. But if they can kill the Falstad, they can absolutely try to end Wave of Force. Tries to get that kill. Doesn't quite. Gust is now gone. They might reconsider here, but no, Rhaegar is coming back up. They're very low on health. They're very low on mana. They're just going to back off. Medevac already off of cooldown. They can all back for full and then fly to wherever they want to be to put that pressure on.
What is Krogas doing? He's over here B-stepping, yucking it up, having a good time. He throws Sundering out for entirely 0 reason. I guess they feel like this game is about over, but maybe Team Space Bears is looking to twist the knife a little bit. They just jump in the medevac, they jump in a limousine, drive off. Wow, man.
Burning Raid picked up at 13 on Tyrael just to fix this wave clear issue that they've been having all game long. They drafted into it, and that hurts because Imposing Will is sort of the defining 13 talent of Tyrael. It's what makes him a very contested tank in addition to Sanctification. So not picking that up, I don't think they're going to be able to deal with the situation. They needed that control.
I mean, Skylight would have to play the game of their lives, but they're not entirely out of it. So if they can hang on and get level 16, they have 87 gems, they can get a turn in. If they win a team fight somehow handily, they have the tools to do it in Sanctification and Mosh Pit. They could at least look at a fort and keep off of one push this late in the game, I feel. But The pressure and screws are being applied for real by Team Space Force.
It's gonna be. I mean, they are slowly catching up. This middle keep is under a ton of pressure, but Team Space Force doesn't want to commit too deep because of those resources, because of Moth. We do see Gragas actually sneaking a turn in. He did pick up all those gems earlier, and he does get it. This is going to be Web Weavers. This is going to help them depush their lanes a little bit. They might be able to save middle keep off the back of this, and that means that they won't have that constant pressure for a little tiny bit. They can get 16. They can potentially force a team fight. They need to make something happen with this, though. They need to get 16. They finally have it. They need to get it right now. Progress is a little bit far extended. Sunder comes down, splits the team in half, but the rest of the team isn't there right away to follow up. Gus for the disengage and sanctification. A little bit of miscommunication there. Lady Sky is very, very deep. Does stun Trikslyr with the power slide, but it looks like they're going to be able to disengage cleanly, and nothing's really going to happen from this fight.
This is Skylight's moment, and you're not going to win it when you blow the mosh pit on no one, but they do manage to get a kill on Try. The Carrick.
Follow up to the Maw. Carrick races 3 people with that follow-up combo. Li Ming only got 1 reset off of that. That's where we're at. They all died so fast. The catapults top and mid defeated the Web Weavers all on their own. No need to do anything else. And in the mid lane, that fight just melted the Web Weaver as well. And they're gonna try and go for core and end. I don't think Tyrael and Rhaegar can stop them. The catapults are coming in as well from the bottom lane. They'll be here soon from top as well. We'll see how it works out. It's possible Goofy gets someone low enough he can sacrifice himself for the kill. They really realize they have to kill Dunktrain first, but the medevac comes down for the self kill, and they all get it.
I mean, this is... Bye. I mean, the game evidently is not over yet. I mean, the death timers aren't too long. H-Miko flying, and what is he doing? He jumps in there and gets his face completely ripped off the front of his head. Tira's going to go down as well, but Dunktrain, he might end up blowing up. Oh, no. Without Morales, I don't think they can end the game even with these 2 kills. This is insane.
It was a 2 for 1, but it's worth noting that during that fight, the gem count became completely reset almost for Team Skyelight. And so they're going to be a long way from a turn-in, and they needed to get a double turn-in to really have any chance of coming back in this game. Now all Team Space Force do is soak 20, force a fight, and go core. And Team Skyelight is going to have to play out of their minds to have any chance of winning right here.
I mean, you're going to have to hear that, like, Olympic slow-motion music, like, dun, 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 dun. Like, I mean, it better be championship level play. 47 gems already turned in. Dreadnaught can turn these in whenever he feels like, pretty much. But Lady Sky is going to go... Has he waited too long?
He's just waiting for Morales to come back up so they can have that clear 5-man push. They want to get the level 20 talent here as well. And so he's just timing it out as close as he possibly can so that Morales and 20 come at exactly the time the Web Weavers are going to get to the middle of the lane, catch up to where the minion wave is. And this is, again, one of those timings we see a lot in very high-level professional play, but not so much in our average daily games. And the instant interrupt on Mosh, wow.
I mean, they read this moment like a book. They had to try to take a team fight. Skylight did before level 20 came around, so they were definitely eyeing the power slide, mosh pit engagement. Rogus finds himself on the wrong end of the map. He's going to go down. That's tough. Lady Sky is going to start backing away, but I mean, really, they could just jump in the... Oh, the medevac's still down for 25 seconds. There's a question mark that goes out. I'm confused. But the last parts of this game have been your quintessential clown fiesta. Is the word? Oh no, false dad. Oh my god, this is insane. All right, that's game. That's game.
Those repulsion wave of force is just knocking people into such good position, such precise play from Dreadnaught on Li Ming. And that will be Web Weavers, catapults, and siege camp all in the core at the same time. 20 to 18, 5 alleged, 1 alive, and that will be GG.
The blue team town hall meeting on the core is gonna close out that game. What the heck, man? All right. So I was excited for this set, right? I knew it was going to be something, especially with Skylight in here and the members of Team Spacebar. I was excited to see them. Game 2 blew my mind. I was like, all right, wow, all right, we got a game 3. This is a whole ball game. And again, I find myself surprised by the end of the game because I don't know what you call the last 4 to 5 minutes of that game. That was interesting.
I mean, it looked really bad for Team Skylight, but I think you gotta look at those last 4 minutes as being a little bit respectful. Once Dunktrain was down, they didn't have that support. They're like, okay, we have to back off. We don't want to potentially throw the game because without our support, there's a real possibility that they have enough damage, they have enough CC that they could, get a good gust, they could put us in a bad position, kill us off, and then they will get all these gems. Maybe they get boss, they're going to get 20, and then they're going to put it in a situation where if they win one more team fight after that, they can take the game. And Team Spacer didn't want to lose. They didn't want to throw in a dumb way. They thought maybe they could pull it off mechanically, but they're like, no, let's just wait till the healer reses. We'll get the turn in, we'll get 20, and we'll end convincingly instead of by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah, I mean, it was a smart move on their part in the end, because they found out at the end of the game too what it was like to die on the core. They didn't want the remix of all that. That's for certain. But what a way to end the night! Holy crap, man! An amazing best of 3. At the end of the day, Team Space Bear does come out on top. Very entertaining game. Hey, what's going on, McIntyre? How's it going, man? That was exciting. Again, my name is Lauren. I'm a caster for Chair League. I cast some other stuff too. I stream every now and again. I got a ton of follows tonight, and that guy again with the freaking $100 donation. Holy crap! Like, thank you again for that. By the way, I have been joined by the one and only Socrates of Heroes of the Storm, Cavalier Guest. You can find him on Twitch and Twitter at Cavalier Guest. You can find me on Twitter at _Lauren. Yeah. And again, this has been Chair League. For those of you who are seeing this for the first time, Chair League is a community effort created by the one and only Super Joba. Really cool stuff. You can join as a team or by yourself. Every week, your team gets assigned a game at a specific time. You have casters like myself, Cavalier Guest cast you. It's a good time. I definitely look forward to seeing more of Team Space Bear and Skylight in the Pro Division. All the Pro Division sets are best of 3s. The other divisions are best of 1s. So, oh yeah, Lear. I mean, it was fitting. So, thanks for hanging out, guys. This has been an absolute blast. Do you have any thoughts or comments, CG?
Not. Thank you for having me on again. I think this is like the 6th or 7th game we've duo casted, and it's only the 2nd day of Chair League. I'm looking forward to a lot more of these. We can get our schedules to line up.
Yeah, man.
It's always a pleasure to be on your channel. Everyone's so like happy and excited. There's something about casting with you, honestly. I think that brings out the best in my casting. So I always have so much fun. I really appreciate it. And thank you to our players for the great games, and to our audience. I hope you guys had a great night, and hopefully I'll see you all again very soon.
That's certainly the plan. You got to come out. We got Chair League games most nights of the week. Yeah, Monday through Friday. So check out chairleague.com. Get involved. It's a ton of fun. You can have a blast. But fun comes to an end sooner or later. So tonight we are going to call it here. But I'm gonna pass us off. I'll go ahead and host. Crap server thoughts, comments. I mean, it was a great set. It was a great set. I feel like Team Space Bear just kind of rolled in. This is their first Chair League game at all, so they didn't really have the gauge on the level of competition. And they were like, we can ban Gazlo and stuff and kind of be casual, but no, Skylight knows how to play. So we definitely saw a heightened sense of urgency, I guess. Like they definitely applied themselves more in game 2. They're able to take it to game 3, and it was exciting to see that. Because the amateur, casual scene, it's not that casual these days. I cast the amateur tournaments a lot, and people know how to play. I mean, imported support, they're at PAX West. They came out of the amateur scene. Some of those players were in the Pro Division and Chair League, so it's a whole thing, man. It's a lot of fun. But fun comes to an end tonight. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to host SC2 Fan TV. You might have heard of this young man. I love watching this guy stream. Gale Force Esports. I love this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and host him, pass him over, continue to hang out. Thank you so much for all the follows again. That guy, thank you for the $100 donation. That's insane, man. Seriously. I'll have the VOD will be on here after this once the stream stops. I'll also put it on my YouTube channel. And yeah, can't wait to see you guys again. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks, man.